Great. Brilliant. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. You could have been anywhere today in Milan. You choose to be here. So that's super. We're delighted. And I'm going to try and do this without my voice packing in. I'm here with Alfredo Häberli. Thank you so much, Alfredo, for coming and joining us at the Daily Bar. I've seen you countless times in Milan during Milan Design Week over the years, and you were just saying earlier that the first time was in 1986. What's changed? What's got better? What's got worse? What's the progression? Seriously, what's the progression been for you, or the evolution been for you in terms of the fair and how the city is used as a set for exposing design?
Maybe I have to go back a little bit in my biography.
Please
I
do.
grew up in Argentina, South America, and coming to Switzerland, where I live since more than 40 years. I was missing the Latin part, so I took quite often the train to Milano, and there I discovered the showrooms, and later on that there is a profession that we call designer. And then I figure out that you can study that in Zurich, and that was my beginning in '86. And then I discovered that there is a furniture fair in Milano. So I went to the director of the university to say, listen, I would like to go for 3 days to Milano. And he said, oh yes, Alfredo, but you know, you have to fill a paper and I don't know, like half a year before and apply for that. And then as an Argentinian, I say to him, to the director, I say, okay, you have two possibilities. Or I go, I'm ill, or I go. You can choose one or the other. So that was my first Milano fair, '86. And then, of course, I mean, you wait for the tram to go to the fair at Rho. And just on the same pedestrian, it's Achille Castiglioni waiting for the tram. And you look like that. They say, no, that's not true. It's like, it's not real, you know. And he was so short and funny. And you know, so that was my beginning. And now to go back to your question, what changed? My gray hairs. I'm a little bit older. But the passion is still the same, and I think I'm happy to see that Milano is back after this strange period that we lived the last 2 years, and I think that Milano will survive again with all the...
We were talking earlier about the analog versus the digital and the importance of the haptic, of really kind of touching products and feeling them and discovering them through the tactile, and of course the boom in digital marketing when it comes to design cannot replace that kind of analog experience. Do you think that? How do you see the balance, or what do you see the relation between them? How do you see that evolving?
I mean, we are still improving. I mean, a lot of journalists or people, architects, have, oh, Alfredo, you did new things, and I say, yes, they are new, because they were sitting on it this year, but we showed it 2 years ago, and it was not working really well to show so fast. It's not so easy to communicate a sofa digital way. I mean, even if you have people sitting on it, you see the proportion, but to go and walk around, it's like a piece of art, like a sculpture. I mean, it's yeah, but we will find a mix in between, and that will be also the future, I think so, because to come to Milano, for us from Zurich, it's easy, we just take the train. But for a company to rent a stand, to bring all the stuff with, to have the accommodation, to have the food, everything, it's very, very economical, intensive. So I think we will lose some fairs that we had in the last 20 years, some of them.
From a sustainability point of view, is that not a good thing?
I think yes. That this is, of course, it's also a quality then.
We'll be talking at the Daily Bar to Calvi Brambilla, tomorrow, specifically about stand design, and that will be a kind of key question about sustainability. But do you think that the current this week, the way that Salone has come back, some say bigger than ever, is a retrograde step after last September, when it was much more reduced and had an emphasis on stand design that's reusable, that can be reused?
I think when I came in the 80s, I think the stand were designed to be rebuilt for maybe 3 times, something like that. So as an example, Vico Magistretti did the stand for Casina, Achille Castiglioni, Bellini, something like that. The architect that also renovated the showroom at Via Durini, as an example. I think, and then in the last 10 years we exaggerate. It was like, okay, do it bigger and bigger and nicer and very attractive, very showy. And then before now the pandemic, they started not to let you into the stand, and that was quite strange. I mean, not for me, because I'm Alfredo Häberli, and they say, oh, you have to queue there. But it's like, okay, they want now the digital data from you, from an architect, and I think that's not the idea. It's about human. It's to meet people, and we have to be careful about what we do and how we treat the clients at the end. So.
On meeting people, let's go. So we've touched on the past and the present and looked a bit at the future. Let's go back to the past. And you mentioned Castiglioni earlier. You're in the middle of writing a book, which will be published hopefully later in the year by Swiss publisher Scheidegger and Spiess, about your personal encounters with some of the great and the good from Italian design and the Italian design industry, like Castiglioni, like Enzo Mari. What can we expect to learn from, why should we read this book? What can we expect to learn from your personal experiences of interacting with these design legends?
I love young human being and young people. So in a way, I wrote it for the people who were not able to live what I lived. So it's a biography in a way, but without me. So I don't talk about me. I only talk about these people I met, the very, very strong imprenditore in Italy, the charm and the craziness of the Italian producers, which is just a lot of passion and intuition. And today it's a very strong marketing and anonymous companies, investment groups, and it hurts me a little bit, because Italian companies are losing some soul in a way, and that's also a reason why I wrote it. But the mainly reason was I was having plenty of time by not traveling. So I said, what can I do in an intelligent way? So I say, if I don't write it now, I will never write it, because we start flying again. And yes, I'm 3 days away a week, so it's too much. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting. That it sounds like the lockdown was quite a productive period for you, at least giving you space to think and reflect and recall.
Yes, and it was also for myself to digest the last 40 years that I lived, but on design and what changed, what are, it's kind of a cut, a stop, how do you say, a moment of taking air and saying, okay, what was the past, what did I do? And I'm very strong in my attitude as a designer, and I try to give that to the young people as well, because it's quite difficult to choose to make your own way today. I think you have so many possibilities, and it's 30 years ago, it was also difficult, but there were these connections in a way. We were the first designer, not Italian designer, that that were able to produce for Italian company. We have to imagine that before was this great maestri, Ettore Sozzas, Vico, Magistretti, Achille, Zanuso, all these big guys. And then Jasper Morrison came, Mark Newson, Tom Dixon, Constantine, me, Sebastian Byrne. So we were the first not Italian to come in this fantastic ambient. So we are lucky, I think.
Absolutely. Do you think, I mean, I'm thinking about what you said earlier about the way you discovered design was through the exhibition of design. So the showroom as a place of encounter, and then the fair came along, and on the back of that you discovered the fair. I'm thinking about what Barbara Oscarby said the other day to us, which was that they're actively going into schools in London, in areas of London perhaps that are more socially challenged or deprived than other areas, to talk about design as a concept, because otherwise there's no way of those kind of kids really knowing what it is. And if they don't know what it is, they can't decide to try and work in that field. I wonder though whether generally now design is overexposed, and that in itself could also be challenging for young people, because where do you, there's a proliferation of design, where do you start, where do you enter?
I mean, what we have to know, and also young designer has to know, that you go to study design, but design is really wide today. So it's not about to design another chair, another sofa, really not anymore. It's to take care on the whole concept and the whole environment and the whole complexity that design has. So I think it's not anymore about the object. It's to help the company going through a very difficult process of production and help them out, and with exhibition, with talks, with at the end furniture as well, whatever. But I think this is important, not to have an object in mind, to have more the process in mind. This is design as well. So I think that, I mean, I came from the Triennale to see Memphis, and that was also kind of a shock in the 80s to the establish the producer to say, listen, you are really old-fashioned what you do. I mean, open your eyes. But then, of course, Sozzas immediately stopped following Memphis, because he said, it's not about the shape. It's not about, we just wanted to wake you up. And I think what we have here now at the moment, it's the environment who are waking us up, and we have to do something there. And there is a lot of possibility, which there is no recipe. And also, yes, even when I write the book now, there is no recipe. It's just to know yourself, to try to find your way, and to stay for your work or for your way of thinking in your life. I'm the first time in my life, in a way, that I go with the train to the top of the north, because my children don't want to fly. So I say, okay, let's go with the train. So, but that's nice, because they are my children. I treat them like that, and now they are ping-ponging with me and say, okay, papi, yeah, let's go with the train. I said, wow, that's 16 hours. No, but okay. I fly only once, my son says, so in a year. So it's a very nice concept, and I have to follow them, you know.
Absolutely, and a great challenge for a designer. Designers who are helping bring objects into the world to increase the amount of material stuff around us. It's nice to have a younger generation actually challenging us in that respect. Guys, I'll just move this grass away from my face. Any questions from you while we have Alfredo here? On his particular kind of approach and thinking, or any particular product or projects of his?
Please, I'm very humble. Normally I say, if they don't ask 10 questions, we don't let them drink. So you can choose. We can do 5, okay, make a compromise. But Tobias?
Well, thank you.
Not questions, not...
I'm touched by your positive spirit that you're giving to us. Thanks for this. We had a lot of these discussions here in the last days, thinking more process than shape. And the discussion goes further, the process of making and then the process of keeping it alive, the product. Have you, or do you have a vision about, how we can change or the manufacturers can change their product offer in the sense of adding services, maintenance, ideas, how a product can maybe even change and have a longer life, because that is much more sustainable than the greatest recycled whatever oily remade stuff,
So I gave two answers. The first, for my positive way of looking to life, it's the Argentinian side, because we have a huge inflation, terrible economy and presidents, and so if you don't survive one day, the next day you will not do it in your life. So this is essential, which is also interesting to follow that philosophy. And yes, I have a lot of friends, they still asking me, where can I get your stuff? And we are here in Milan, and everybody says, yeah, but we are just a little bit of design-interested people. So this is some reality. So we can do a lot to open the shops, to go to the people and say, listen, design, it's beautiful. And it's a big difference what we do and other big companies do. Which are very democratic as well, but so we have to explain, communicate, and then add service, treat these people well. I mean, sometimes in Zurich, I send my friends, and some of them are really rich, wealthy, and so they look to them. So when they come in the shop, I say, this guy has no money, so they even don't stand up by a professional sailing shop, and I get so angry, because I say that's exactly what we missed. No, so we don't have to do it. No, don't let people in the stand. No, the opposite. Go to the people and explain what is difference between this chair and the other copy. That's what we have to say. Yeah, to explain. Young man, you have a question in mind. Courage. Don't worry. En español también, o italiano, lo que quiera. ¿Qué idioma quiere?
I've got a...
Voy a preguntar en español. Digamos, para muchos diseñadores latinoamericanos que son muy creativos, tienen mucho talento, pero que no son capaces de conectarse con las cadenas de valor global. ¿Qué hacer? Mercados como Europa, Southeast Asia, los Estados Unidos. ¿Cómo hacer? ¿Cómo llevar estos creativos y cómo democratizar un poco el diseño? Y lo vemos mucho que las ferias están centralizados, Maison Ogier en París, Salón del Móvil aquí en Italia. ¿Cómo hacerlo?
Okay. He was asking, it seems that he comes from South America, and he's asking how can a designer from Latin countries connect to the European Center of Design, how to do it. Again, there is no recipe. In my case, my parents moved to Switzerland, and then I discovered design. It doesn't mean that you have to move now to Europe to become a designer, but it's really a problem, because like Diana Cabeza from Argentina, the brothers from Brazil, Campana brothers, just few succeed in Europe to work, because it's the distance again. I mean, it's like you have to travel to go, but also for me living in Zurich, if I don't travel, if I don't take the train, or the plane, whatever, or the car over the mountains, if I don't go to the Italian companies, also a little bit in Spain, if I don't go there, if I don't spend time with these guys, they don't do my ideas, even if I work 20 years for them. They like the person, we have to work on the prototype, and this is the problem when you are in Asia, and the producers are here in Europe. That's so. But there are some friends that living in Argentina, but they travel like 3 months in a year to Europe and to follow the prototypes. Yeah.
And as we're no, that's great. As we are forced to fly less, well, until technology changes and we're all flying electrically, this is going to become more of an issue, I think. This goes to the larger question of creativity and the creativity of relationships in our industry. How much of it can be done remotely, and how much of it requires this physical proximity. I mean, I think I can say that everybody in this room is delighted to be back here in Milan, and whether we are talking about ideas and projects, talking about business, or just enjoying each other's company, this is critical. I mean, we're human beings. Design is as much about, in terms of the product, objects, it's hugely about touch. This goes back to what we were saying right at the start.
Yeah, but we learned now in the last 2 years that some of the meetings, we are really able to do it in a digital way. But when it go to product and to feel somebody, or if you are more than 3-4 people, like with engineers together with the technical department, with the owner, whatever, then it's quite important to have this, because you are then fast and you feel it and say, okay, in this case, then I do that. And on Zoom or whatever digital, it's very complicated. But many meetings, we don't cancel it. We just move it to digital. That's for sure, and that it's already happened, and it will stay like that.
Right. Well, we're delighted to have you here in person. Big round of applause for Alfredo, and yes, sure, you can talk to him afterwards if you have any other burning questions. Thanks so much for coming. Thank you, Alfredo. Thank you.